Thanks for joining me today for our Teen Craft program. I'm Stacey, the Teen Services Librarian at the Neighbor Boulevard Library, and our craft I have for you today are these mini erasers of Among Us crewmates. These are made using special eraser clay that we are then going to bake that will turn these little clay crewmates into usable erasers. So this is a lot of fun and a really simple craft to do, and we're going to get started on showing you how you can make your favorite suspicious crewmates. So in order to make these crewmates for our craft today, we are going to be using a special kind of clay. It is an eraser clay, and the one I bought for this craft I just got from Amazon. It's this brand called Uli Creatables DIY Eraser Kit, and it comes with all of these colors that are perfect for creating all of our crewmates. Now, if you signed up ahead of time and were able to get one of our craft kits, you got something like this. And so inside it, what I've got are our instructions for baking. We'll set those aside. And then I gave everybody 4 assorted colors of clay in these large blocks. And I covered them in saran wrap just to keep them from getting their little colors on each other in your bag. These actually don't dry out, which is really helpful to keep this for a while, so you don't have to use all the clay at once. And then you have 2 little blocks of this light blue and this white, and that's what we're going to use to create our little vision window here. So we're going to get started creating these little clay crewmates. Now, we'll put this to the side because I don't need that right now. And along with your clay colors of your choice and your blue and your white, we're gonna need a space to work on. Now, since have this paper backdrop, I obviously don't wanna roll out my clay on it because I'll get stained clay color everywhere. So I have just this little ceramic tile I've used for another craft, but you can also use parchment paper or wax paper or any sort of clean surface, because the colors from these, especially if you are using any dark colors like the black or the red, will sort of come off and mix in. So it's nice to have some sort of dry, clean surface like this. And then otherwise, the only thing you might need is some sort of device for rolling. So I just have a glue stick here. We're gonna use this glue stick, or like a pen. And actually this pen cap is gonna come in handy. So if you have like some sort of small utensil, anything like that can help, but really we can do this whole craft with just our fingers. So let's get started. All right, let's get started now with our craft here. So I have 2 colors I picked here. I have my purple and a yellow because I haven't done those colors yet. So I have those blocks, and then I have my little blue block and my little white block. So I'm gonna set these aside here, and let's get started with the yellow. So the great stuff about this clay is that it's feels a little stiff and rubbery, but once we start working it and rolling around and warm it up, it's going to be really malleable, and you'll be able to mix it into any sort of shape. So from this size of clay bit, we are just going to maybe pull it apart here. We don't need the whole square, and we're going to use some of it for our little backpack propeller. Not propeller. So we're just going to start rolling this out in our hands, and as it gets warm, it's going to start molding like any other sort of clay you might be familiar with if you've done any female clay or things like that. I'm going to roll this out here, and it's really important that you make sure that your hands are nice and clean, because you will get traces of other colors in it. You can see as I'm rolling it, you can see little bits of red and other colors that it lived with in its little container, and that's okay. But you can see as I'm rolling it out, and you can also roll it out on your clean surface, whatever you want, we're just gonna get a nice little blobby thing. It's my technical term. And if you're rolling it and you think, oh, I really want this to be a little bit bigger, you can always grab a little bit extra here and add it. So let's say I want to add a little bit more. I'm going to work that in. And as we get it all nice and moldable, we are ready to shape into our crewmate. Let's put this to the side here, because I didn't really need that one my rolling pin stuff for now. So I'm gonna create kind of like a little ball here, like so. And once I have this little ball, what I'm gonna kind of do is work it and so it's more of like a capsule kind of shape, like a pill capsule or something, like so. And you can see where we're kind of getting the shape of our little crewmate here. So once you have sort of the top, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna kind of squish it a little, make him a little flatter on one end, and the sides there. You got kind of this little flattened crew shape. All right, this is a really easy shape, so these are ones you guys can start knocking out really easily. So then there's a bunch of different ways you can do it from here, but I actually, like I said, I found using a pen cap or something is really helpful. But we're just going to push in a depression here in the center for our two little legs, and then I'm gonna just kind of work this little base shape, kind of smooth it out like so. Get any sort of indents out, but you can see how we are working into this shape, to our little crewmate shape. So I'm gonna admit, everyone, I am rubbish at this game. I play it with my nieces, and I think it's a game where, like within a game, because obviously it's a game, but it's a game within a game for them where it is how fast can they find their aunt and murder her first. I swear they get all of their little friends together and they just, you know, enjoy seeing me get taken out. I'm really bad at being the imposter. I am much better at doing tasks. So that's the other sad thing I have when I play this game. So hope y'all are better at it than I am. But there you go. You just gotta kind of work your crewmate into a little shape, like so. And you can keep working on it and maybe make his legs a little bigger, a little smaller, however you want here. But I am just going to kind of keep working until I've decided this is a good shape. Like I said, you don't really need any specialized tools. It's just me and my pencil cap, or you can even, you know, use your pencil, anything like that. Kind of put together. And you can kind of smooth it out there. There's little leg joints there. But I think I am happy with that little shape here for now. You can see I'm gonna kind of put him down on my surface and press him a little so that we get little flat feet here so that he can maybe stand up later, like so. And that is our first little bit. So now, in order to make our little pack there, which propulsion, I don't really know what we're gonna call it, but we're gonna take another little square and do the same thing. We're gonna warm it up in our hands, get till we can move it around. And do the same thing here. Squish this little ball, and we're gonna try and make like a little rectangular shape with kind of rounded edges. So that looks pretty good. And take a look at what your crewmate's size is too, to see if it needs to be bigger or smaller, but actually that works really well. That's a good size. So when you're ready to attach a piece like this to a piece like this, what we have to do is we have to kind of score the sides that we are going to smoosh together, because otherwise it's just going to fall off. And you know what? It might still fall off when you're erasing, and that's okay. It's all part of the craft is really the fun doing it. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna kind of use my nail, or if you got that pencil cap, you're just gonna kind of get some texture on both sides of the clay that we're gonna smoosh together. And then we're gonna just smoosh those together like so. And that'll help keep them together as much as possible. So there we go. And that is the body of our little crewmate. So we're gonna set him aside and we're gonna move on to making our little windows. All right? And for that, we're gonna use our blue and our little piece of white. Now, like I said, the colors will mix together, which is cool if you wanna make super fun colors, but if you wanna make sure this stays nice and white, we're gonna put that to the side. Wash your hands if you used anything, if you're using the black clay or anything darker, because it's gonna come off into this blue. You're gonna even probably see some of my yellow coming off. But I'm gonna take about half of this size. So you could see, I gave everyone a nice size of blue in their little craft kit, but I'm gonna take about half of that and start working with that. And do the same thing, we're gonna warm it up, we're gonna work on it. And if you wanna roll it with your rolling utensil, whatever you got here, like that. We're just gonna work it so that way it is malleable or smooshy, if you wanna use a non-specific term for it. So, kinda there, and there we go. So what we're doing, same thing, is we wanna try and get this like oval shape here. So I'm kinda gonna roll it out, smoosh it together. I'm going to move it into an oval shape like so for our viewing finder here. Same thing, you're going to kind of look at your little crewmate and decide, like, I think that one's a little too big, so I'm actually going to yoink off some of that and redo it because I don't want it too big on this little guy here, or gal, or little crewmate. We're just gonna work this into an oval shape, like so. And then, like I said, take a look and see how you're thinking. That's actually still too big, so I'm gonna do a little bit more. I don't want it too big here. Nice flat oval shape, like so. And I think that's good. Perfect. So we got that. So we're gonna do the same thing, and I'm gonna score the front side just a little bit. Like I said, you can use your nail, you can use a tip of a utensil like a butter knife or something like that. Anything that you can get some detail, earring back, anything like that. And I'm gonna do the same thing on this side, kind of score it just a little bit, and then we're gonna moosh it together like so. Oops, got some glue. And just press it a little bit firmly on there. And there you go. So now we got our viewer window, and our last step is to add a little bit more depth to it. And we're gonna make it look like it's got a nice glare on it, like in the game. So if you can, wash your hands before you touch this, because this is gonna turn, you're gonna see a tint of yellow as I start working this. So I'm just gonna break off a teeny tiny, like super small sliver. Actually, that's perfect. I don't know if you can see how tiny that is. I am using a teeny tiny bit. And this is a fun step, because there's really no technique to it more than we're gonna push it and smush it. So, oh, you can see I'm getting tinge of yellow in it because I did not wash my hands because I do not have a sink here in my little room. What we're gonna do is make a teeny tiny circle of our white. We're gonna kind of push it right on our viewing window, sort of in the corner, like so, like we got a cool glare on our window. And there we go. See, you just kind of press it in. I could have used a lot less white, but you know, everybody's gonna look different. I'm gonna do another one with this one before we go to our baking step. So that's about it. That's our little Among Us crewmate here. And what you're gonna do is make sure he still kind of stands. He might have gotten a little top or bottom heavy as we made him, but gonna smoosh him down, make sure he stands with the rest. And then we're gonna set him aside and move on to another one. So here for this one, I zoomed in just a little bit more so you can maybe see if you needed some more details here, but do the same thing. That over here. And just kind of work it. It's so I'm going to go ahead and just speed this up so that you don't have to watch me do all of the rolling and smooshing and forming on this purple little crewmate. But I'm going to do the exact same thing I did with our yellow one. The only difference is I think I'm going to try to not use a utensil or implement. I think we're just going to try right here, use my nails, and see if I can shape what we're looking at. But otherwise, just going to follow the same steps to create our shapes and roll out a little bit of our blue for our vision window, and then a teeny tiny bit of white to add for our glare. And don't forget to create our little backpack propulsion mechanism. That's what we'll go with, propulsion mechanism. So yeah, just have some fun with this. And you know, this is a good time too if you have any extra leftover bits, if you want to create any of the fun hats, or I'm going to create a banana peel later and try and put it on there. So just have some fun with this and use your imagination. Okay, and as you can see, I have finished all of my little crewmates. So now we are going to take our cookie sheet or baking tray that we've covered in foil, and we are going to place all of our little erasers on our tray. Just kind of space them out. And this is going to go in either a toaster oven, or if you don't have a toaster oven, you could just use your regular conventional oven. And you're going to want to preheat it to 210 to 250 degrees. We're going to bake it for 30 minutes. This will dry out the clay and create that eraser effect. So let's, oops, they all fell over. Let's do some video editing, and I'm going to take this over to the oven, and voila, we have our baked erasers. Now we baked these, remember, for 30 minutes, and then you're going to let them cool for 60 minutes before you touch them, because they will be hot, because the clay has dried out and created our eraser function. So once they have been sitting for an hour, you can then touch them and give them a try. So you can see here, they turned out really neat, and the clay actually dried out a lot, and that's, you can kind of see how it kind of looks a little bit more dull than it did, but it turned out really good. And I think these are going to be super fun to try out here. So I've gone ahead and even created a little banana that I'm going to put on another one later to bake. But like I said, I wanted to show you how you can use all the extra bits and bobs to create other things. But let's go ahead and check this out. We take our yellow one here, and I wrote a little bit in our, yay, pencil, and voila, we have erased and turned this clay into erasers. And this is super fun. I love making these. You can use this clay to make any sort of shape that you want, but I hope you had fun making our little suspicious crewmates with me, and I look forward to seeing you all again at our next craft program for the spring. So enjoy, everyone, and stay playing your favorite games and creating your favorite crafts. Bye, everyone.